There's a certain stillness that arrives when the house is only yours. At first, it can feel comforting. The freedom to move at your own rhythm, to read without interruption, to let the evening stretch out without someone else's schedule pulling at you. But sometimes that same quiet can feel heavier than expected. It's not just silence, it's the absence of voices, footsteps, or the simple sound of someone sharing a meal with you. And that contrast between peace and emptiness can shift from day to day without warning. If you've ever noticed how the same room can feel warm and safe one night and achingly hollow the next, you're not alone. This is the paradox of living alone later in life. Solitude offers freedom, but it also holds a mirror to our inner world. What once felt like welcome independence may suddenly stir feelings of loneliness. That doesn't mean you're weak or that something is wrong. It simply means you are human, and your heart is asking for acknowledgement. There is wisdom in pausing to notice these shifts rather than rushing to cover them up. The truth is, growing older teaches us that every stage of life comes with its own language. In your younger years, the noise of family, work, or constant obligations might have been overwhelming. Now the challenge is different. The task is to understand how to live with quiet in a way that nourishes rather than drains you. One gentle practice you might consider is to create small moments of presence within the silence. Light a candle in the evening, play a piece of music that comforts you, or simply sit by the window and notice the sky. These aren't grand solutions, but anchors that remind you the silence is not empty. It can be a container for meaning. Sometimes asking yourself soft questions helps. How do you feel when the house grows quiet at night? Does that quiet bring you calm, or does it feel like something is missing? Do you allow yourself to name those feelings without judgment? Even noticing the answers can be enough. Remember, there is no rule book for this stage of life. You are not required to always enjoy solitude, nor are you destined to suffer from it. What matters is the kindness with which you meet your own experience. Over time, you may discover that silence can become a companion, not an enemy, if you treat it with curiosity instead of resistance. By the way, I'd love to know, where are you reading this from? Drop your location in the comments. It always warms my heart to see how far we're all connected. One of the gentlest ways to bring lightness into your days is to create small routines that act like quiet anchors. Without them, time can feel loose, as though the hours drift without shape. But with even the simplest rituals, life begins to regain a sense of rhythm, like the steady pulse of a heartbeat. Let me tell you about Maria, who is 67. After her husband passed, mornings became her hardest hours. She would wake to silence, and instead of rising, she often stayed in bed, scrolling through memories on her phone, feeling the weight of each unstructured day pressing down. But something shifted when she decided to experiment with a morning ritual. She began making a cup of chamomile tea, stepping outside for a short walk, and then writing one small note of gratitude before breakfast. Nothing dramatic, nothing that demanded too much energy. Yet within weeks she noticed a change. Her mornings no longer felt like a void. They became a doorway into the day, carrying a quiet sense of purpose. The truth is, rituals don't have to be elaborate. It's not about filling every minute, but about choosing a few gentle touch points that remind you that this day, like every day, is worth stepping into. If you're wondering how to start, begin with just one ritual in the morning. Keep it small and realistic, something you can truly see yourself doing even on low-energy days. Maybe it's brewing your coffee while listening to a favorite song. Maybe it's sitting by the window and opening a book for 10 minutes. It helps to link it to something you already do, so it feels natural rather than forced. Over time, these little choices begin to weave themselves into a pattern that feels grounding. When the hours stretch long, these touch points bring you back, reminding you that your days have shape, even if they look different than they once did. You might ask yourself, what is the first moment of my day that feels like mine? Could I gently build on that moment, turning it into something that gives me stability?
There's no rush, and there's no need to pressure yourself into perfection. The aim is simply to create an environment where time feels like a companion, not an enemy. If this resonates with you, make sure to subscribe. You'll find more gentle, practical ideas like this waiting for you, each one designed to remind you that even the smallest changes can bring comfort and ease. One of the most surprising lessons of aging is how differently the body begins to speak to us. It whispers at first, slower mornings, a little more stiffness when standing up, a tiredness that wasn't there before. And then, if we don't listen, the whispers grow louder. It's not punishment, it's simply the way a body that has carried you for decades reminds you it now needs gentler care. The science of aging is both humbling and reassuring. After 60, most people naturally lose some muscle mass. Balance becomes more delicate, and the body's ability to stay hydrated or regulate temperature isn't as sharp as it once was. These changes are not failures, they are natural adjustments. Just as a tree grows rings and bends with the wind differently than when it was young, your body also shifts how it responds to daily life. Understanding this isn't about fear, it's about compassion for yourself. Instead of demanding that your body perform as it did in your 40s, you begin to honor what it can do today. And that perspective changes everything. Imagine replacing the pressure of, "I should still be able to," with the kindness of, "How can I support myself best right now?" For example, heavy workouts that once gave you energy might now leave you drained or sore. That doesn't mean you should give up movement, it means you adapt. A gentle 15-minute walk after meals can help regulate blood sugar, keep joints flexible, and even lift your mood. Slow stretching before bed can calm your nervous system, reducing those restless nights that sometimes come with age. Even something as small as drinking water more consistently through the day, rather than all at once, protects your kidneys and helps prevent dizziness. These are small shifts, but they make a world of difference when you listen to your body's new language. Let yourself notice. Do you sometimes push past signals, telling yourself, "I should just keep going"? What would happen if, instead, you paused and asked, "What do I need in this moment?" That question isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Because the truth is, your body has earned the right to be treated with tenderness. There's no need to compare yourself with who you once were. That person lived their season, and you are in yours now. The beauty of this stage is learning that strength doesn't always mean doing more. Sometimes it means slowing down, paying attention, and allowing yourself to move through the day in a way that feels sustainable. In listening to your body with kindness, you create not just health, but a deeper friendship with yourself, one that honors every year you've lived and every step still ahead. There's a quiet kind of love you can offer yourself, and it often looks like making your home just a little safer. Safety is not about living in fear or expecting the worst. It is about creating an environment that allows you to move through your days with less worry, more freedom, and more peace of mind. When you live alone, even small inconveniences can become big challenges. That is why gentle adjustments, taken step by step, can make an enormous difference. Begin with light. Hallways, staircases, and corners of the home that were easy to navigate years ago may now feel dimmer, especially in the evenings. Brighter lighting removes the guesswork and gives you confidence in every step. The next small act of kindness to yourself is keeping a phone or an alert device within reach. Not because you expect an emergency, but because knowing it is there allows you to relax. The same is true for the bathroom. A simple non-slip mat and secure grab handles can prevent the kind of falls that change lives in an instant. Think, too, of the reassurance that comes from sharing a spare key with a trusted neighbor or family member. It's not about giving up independence. It's about ensuring you are never left isolated in a moment when you need support. These changes are not grand renovations, but soft layers of care you weave into your surroundings. They whisper to you, "You are safe here." Ask yourself gently, do you ever feel a flicker of worry when you move around your home at night? Do you hesitate on certain steps or catch yourself holding onto walls more often than before? These small signals are your body's way of inviting you to create more ease for yourself. It is not weakness to respond, it is wisdom. Think of these steps not as limitations, but as a way of opening your life to more freedom. With less worry about accidents, you create more space for joy, for peace, and for simple daily pleasures. You are building a home that supports who you are now, in this season of life. And that, in truth, is one of the most profound acts of self-respect. There is a common belief that joy naturally fades with age, as though happiness belongs only to youth. But the truth is often the opposite. Later years hold a quieter, deeper kind of joy, if you allow yourself to explore it. Living alone after 60 can feel like an empty canvas, and while that can be intimidating, it is also an invitation. Solitude does not mean the absence of meaning. It can become the very space where you rediscover the things you once longed to do but never had the time for. Think about it. How many times in earlier life did you put aside your own desires because work, family, or obligations came first? Perhaps you once dreamed of learning to paint, joining a choir, or volunteering at a local shelter. Perhaps you wanted to write letters, grow herbs on a windowsill, or even travel to a nearby town just to sit in a new cafe. None of these things are out of reach now. They may look different than they would have decades ago, but that doesn't make them any less meaningful. Solitude offers a chance to return to yourself with curiosity. Ask yourself softly, what is one thing I have always wanted to try but told myself it was too late for? What is stopping me now? Sometimes the barrier is only the story we tell ourselves. I once knew Thomas, 71, who believed his days of learning were behind him. He often said, "That's for young people, not me." But when his daughter gifted him a set of watercolor paints, he decided, almost reluctantly, to try. Within months, painting became his sanctuary. He wasn't trying to be great, he was simply giving himself permission to play. And in that play, he found joy he hadn't felt in years. The myth that later life is only about decline is one of the most harmful stories we inherit. In reality, it can be a season of flowering if you allow yourself to plant new seeds. Sometimes it's as simple as joining a local group, volunteering once a week, or even starting a project at home that makes you smile when you wake in the morning.
Meaning is not found only in big accomplishments. It lives in the small sparks of creativity, in the act of giving, in the discovery that life is still unfolding. Living alone after 60 doesn't mean living without connection or purpose. It means you have the freedom to shape your days in ways that reflect who you are now, not who you once were. And there is beauty in that. If these thoughts spoke to you, consider subscribing. It means we can keep walking this path of gentle wisdom together. And tell me in the comments, what is the one thing that makes living alone after 60 beautiful for you?